friends, and welcome back to Sarah's Next Chapter. My name is Sarah and this is my cosy corner of the internet where I share all my bookish related thoughts and musings with you guys. And today I am going to be sharing my potentially controversial feelings on Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. So as always, grab your beverage of choice and let's get into it. I am drinking a brown sugar oat iced latte today and it is delicious. So good. Okay, buckle up. Let's get into it. Here are my thoughts on Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I'm going to say right off the bat, there will be spoilers in this video. If you have not read this book and you do not want to be spoiled, click away now. Now. Okay, good. So, Sunrise on the Reaping is the fifth book in the Hunger Games series. However, it is set after the events in A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and before the events of the original three Hunger Games books. In this book, we follow Haymitch Abernathy. So, in the Hunger Games series, Haymitch is Katniss and Peeta's mentor and one of the very few victors from District 12. So, this is the book where we get into his origin story and a look into how his games played out. Two major themes that stuck out to me, which go somewhat hand in hand, are propaganda and the idea of controlling the narrative. All throughout this book, we are given examples of times when the capital is manipulating and controlling the narrative that it feeds out to the citizens of Panem in order to keep them under the thumb. So in this video, I've decided to do like a compliment sandwich approach. So we're going to do my likes, we're going to do my dislikes, and then we're going to round off with a few more likes. Compliment sandwich. You get me? So, likes for this book. I thought it had a very strong start. I was crying within like the first 34 pages, okay? I loved the lore of Haymitch knowing Katniss's dad and Katniss's mum. I loved the little bit of banter of like Haymitch being like, you're never going to get her, you know, like his Katniss's mum was a bit more well-to-do in District 12 than the dad was. So I loved that whole bit about Haymitch being like, he's never going to get her. And obviously we know, we're smiling to ourselves like, well, he does. And they have two kids and, you know, wouldn't say they live happily ever after, but you know. So I loved that side of things. I thought it was nice to see the early relationships in Haymitch's life before he obviously ends up in the games. His relationship with his mum and especially his relationship with his little brother Sid. When he gets chosen for the games and he has to say goodbye to his brother, oh, that made me cry. Like when he's holding his brother and telling him like, you've got to be the man now, you've got to be the man of the house now, take care of things. Like, oh God. Heart ripped out of chest, destroyed. I also thought, to sort of circle back a wee tiny bit, Woodbine Chance is the original person that is reaped for the games, and the scene where he is running, like he just decides to run and the peacemakers take him out. Peacekeepers or makers, peacekeepers take him out, was so brutal and one of the most like, one of those scenes that is just so Hunger Games. Like, I don't know how else to put it. It's so brutal and upsetting and it just stops you in your tracks. You know, it's that reality of living. I mean, thankfully I've never had to experience this, so I'm saying this from a place of extreme privilege, having never, thankfully, had to witness anything like that firsthand. But, you know, it hits home of like, having to live in a place that is so controlled by the government, having to live in a war zone of such, where things like that happen. I mean, it's so shocking. So that scene was, yeah, that was like, shocking, takes you aback. Loved Plutarch being in it right from the start and being a little rebel right from the start. What a guy. Philip Seymour Hoffman. I always think of Family Guy when I think of Philip Seymour Hoffman. Love that. This is going to come as a surprise to absolutely no one if you've watched my previous videos. I absolutely loved Effie being in it. Effie Trinket's one of my favourite characters in Hunger Games, and I love that we see how she gets started, coming in to save the day with some costumes for District 12. And it's also really nice to see how her and Haymitch forge this sort of bond and why she has such a soft spot for District 12. And that was about the sum of my likes to begin with. We're going to get into my dislikes now. I would like to put out a disclaimer. This is just my opinion, okay? If you love this book, if you love the aspects I'm going to talk about, that's okay. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying this is my opinion. And I have to say this because I feel like sometimes with fandoms like Harry Potter, like Hunger Games, like, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, any big fandom, people get very defensive if there's any criticism of it. And I get it. It's something you love, and sometimes we conflate that with feeling like I'm criticising you. I'm not. I just want to say that, okay? But I also want to share my honest opinion. Okay, end of disclaimer. So, I felt like in this book there were actually too many characters being name dropped. It felt like there was like Easter egg after Easter egg after Easter egg, and it started to feel a wee bit overdone to me at a certain point. Some of them I really liked. I think they worked. I think it made sense. Others I was like, I don't know. It just felt a bit overdone. I think my biggest issue, well, I've got two big issues with this book. This was one of them. This book felt like it was quite overwritten to me. I honestly felt like you could get rid of about 10 chapters and I wouldn't really have missed them. So this is I know this is a very personal opinion of mine, right? But see all the stuff in the middle about the stylists, I just didn't care. I was like, I do not give a fuck about these stylists. I don't care. Cry me a river. So you're going to fail an exam. I know that's probably the point. I know that Suzanne Collins is probably trying to show how ridiculous their problems seem in the grand scheme of things, but I just didn't care. I wasn't invested enough in their characters to care about any of that. The interviews as well. I mean, I love Caesar Flickerman. He's a great character. The interviews, it just felt a bit, I don't know, just overdone. I didn't really care. I got to a point where I was like, just put them in the games. Put them in the games already because I want to see what happens in the games. That's why I'm here. So yeah, I felt that the middle was a bit overwritten for me. I've written this down right, and this is so petty. But I thought Lenore, and I don't know if you're meant to say her name, Lenore or Lenore, Haymitch's girlfriend. I think it must be Lenore, right? Lenore Dove. I found her name really annoying. I just didn't like her name, and I didn't like how it's double barreled or how they always said it. I don't know if that her full name, Lenore Dove, or is Dove a middle name? Don't understand, right? But he always said Lenore Dove, and I just found that annoying. And I can't really explain it. I just found it annoying. I also felt like I didn't really care about anyone in the arena except Haymitch. For me, the best thing I think about one of the best things about the Hunger Games series and the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is that there's like relationships that you really care about and people you really care about in the arena, right? So in the Hunger Games, in the first one, obviously you've got Katniss, you've got Peeta and the love interest, right? So that's you're like, I want these two to survive, okay? And then in Catching Fire, obviously, in the Hunger Games you also got Rue, of course. Everyone loves Rue. So yeah, those kind of three. In Catching Fire, you've obviously again got Katniss, you've got Peeta, but then you've also got these other characters that you really quickly, I felt like, begin to love and have an attachment to, like Beatty, like Wyrus. I love Joanna. I loved her right from I love Joanna. Finnick, Mags. You know, you've got these really sympathetic characters that you just can't help but love and root for and desperately don't want to see die. I didn't feel like that in this book. I cared about Haymitch. Obviously Beatty's son Ampert, I don't know how I'm meant to say these names, Ampert, obviously yeah, him, but he wasn't really in it that much when you got in the arena. Obviously eventually Haymitch does find him, but yeah, I just didn't feel like I cared that much. I honestly didn't shed a tear when any of them passed. Maybe I'm a sociopath. But I didn't find the same bond to them that I had with other tributes in the previous book. I just didn't. I feel like Haymitch should have been with them more. I think that was a flaw of making him go on his own for so long. You just didn't get enough of the relationships and interaction, and I think I missed that. The arena in general fell very flat for me. I just didn't find it as interesting in the others, and I know it must be hard to top what you've already done. The original Hunger Games arena being like the forest, Catch and Fire. I mean, the Catch and Fire arena, like, come on, that was a mic drop moment. Like, who thinks of that? Like, that was amazing, being a clock and all the different terrains that they're forced into and all that. I mean, that was just so clever. So this arena being a meadow, I was just like, a meadow? Okay. And I get it. I get the symbolism. I think it was clear that there was a message being sent about District 12, specifically the meadow being so important to Lenore Dove and to the Covey. I got the symbolism about how everything's meant to look beautiful and perfect, but obviously everything's poisonous, so it's like something really pretty can actually be really evil and dangerous. I get it. Love the symbolism. It just fell flat for me. The next note that I've written down is just a porcupine. Really? Like that mutt, the porcupine mutt, was laughable to me. I couldn't take that seriously, and I've never had that with any of the other Hunger Games. Like, all the mutts have been so terrifying. I mean, the big dog things in the original one that have the tributes eyes and hair. Okay. The monkeys in Catch and Fire, absolutely terrifying. The things that chase them in the sewer in Mockingjay, horrific. This one I just felt like, what is this, like a PG-13? Like, this is just very, I just didn't find them scary. I thought like the butterflies, the like electric shock butterflies and the blood-filled ladybugs were nice. You know, again, this idea of something being so like innocent and gentle and beautiful looking being deadly. Like, I love that. The porcupine. You're telling me I'm supposed to be scared of a porcupine? No, sorry. No. It's a no for me. And I think my final, you'll be happy to know, we're on my final dislike. My final dislike for this book, again, this is a very personal one. It felt like it was written for the younger end of the YA spectrum, the younger end of the young adult spectrum for me. The Hunger Games books and A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, to me, felt like the older end of young adult, so it felt like maybe it was geared towards 16 to 18-year-olds. This book felt like it was written for the younger end of that spectrum. Perhaps it was, and that's okay, but it just didn't work for me personally. I don't really like I don't read a lot of YA fiction. Hunger Games is like one of the only series that I read that is young adult. So, yeah, I just wasn't really into that. I felt like the substance was very adult. It was horrific, it was brutal, but the actual writing style felt a lot younger to me, and that's just a personal taste thing. I just didn't really like it. So that's it for my dislikes. We're back to the likes now because it's a compliment sandwich. The last couple of chapters in this book, in my opinion, are by far the best. The last couple of chapters, I literally was like, yes, thank you, Lord. This is the Hunger Games that I'm looking for. This is the Suzanne Collins writing that I'm looking for. It was the twists, the turns, the bit with the gumdrops. I didn't see that coming, honestly. Like, yeah. The last few chapters, I was like, thank God, it is redeeming itself in this last few chapters. Plutarch telling Haymitch about the attic in District 11 not being bugged. Loved that. I was like, yes, because I've seen so many people on TikTok being like, what happened to Haymitch in District 11? Why does he know about this attic space? Because in Catch and Fire, as soon as that the man is shot in District 11 for doing the Mockingjay symbol, Haymitch like pretty much scoops Katniss up and takes her up to this attic in 11 to like be like, girl, like, wake up. He does that bit where he's like, wake up, these games don't end, you're always in it, like, whatever, you're never getting off this train. But he does it so quick, and it's like, he knew that was there. How did he know that was there? And we get an answer for that, and I love that. That was really cool. The epilogue did break my heart. I mean, that was so bittersweet. how Katniss reminded him of Luella when he first saw her in the Hob with her braids, and that's why he ended up calling her sweetheart, and it just kind of stuck. All of that, you know, obviously when he's trying to recover and he's getting the syrup from Katniss's mum and he's relying on alcohol to just sort of take him, he's lost everything and he's just trying to numb and forget everybody. It was heartbreaking. It was absolutely heartbreaking. So I did really, really enjoy enjoy sounds weird when I'm saying it's heartbreaking and grim, but I did enjoy the end. I enjoyed the last few chapters and I loved the epilogue. It left me with this feeling in my chest. So that was good, I guess. All in all, I gave this book 3.75 stars on Storygraph. I'm not saying it was a bad book. I've listed many things that I really liked about it, but it definitely was not my favourite. I think it had its flaws for me. And personally, I am not looking for any more Hunger Games books. I'm not looking for any more books in this world. I think for me this was a sign that we've come to an end, unfortunately, and I really hope that we leave it at that. I know probably Suzanne Collins will be offered a lot of money to give us Phoenix games or Mags's games or whoever, or a sequel to the Hunger, whatever, right? I know that'll be tempting. I really hope she doesn't do it because I think this is it for me. So those are my potentially somewhat controversial thoughts on Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. Please let me know, because I would love to chat about this. I really do want to know what other people think about this. Please let me know what you think in the comments if you've read it. Let's have a chat. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment with your thoughts. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye!